Now we can tell Gachagua they will be done under the National Infrastructure Fund without burdening Kenyan taxpayers. Since Mr. Gachagua has invited the country to take stock, perhaps we should also ask, what did Gachagua do in the 2 years that he served this country as the Deputy President? What transformative national program bears his name? What economic reform did he design? What national institution did he build? What lasting policy did he leave behind? What was his great idea for Kenya?
Shares.
And I dare ask,
Shares.
what is your great idea for Kenya today,
Shares.
Mr. Gachagua? Other than what you hear my colleagues say, the divisive politics of shareholding. For 2 years, he occupied the office of the Deputy President, yet today his most memorable political legacy is not a program, a reform, or even an institution. It is a politics of shareholding. It is a politics of ethnicity. It is a politics of who voted for whom, and therefore who supposedly deserved what portion of the Republic of Kenya. Kenya rejected that philosophy. The Constitution rejected that philosophy of shareholding, and ultimately, Parliament rejected the politics that accompanied it and impeached this disgraced goon number one of our republic. That is why it is particularly astonishing to hear Mr. Gachagua lecture the country about constitutionalism and institutions. A constitution he never respected, institutions that he never respected when he was in office. The impeachment proceedings against him included allegations, as we mentioned, of undermining the constitutional institutions of our country, devolution, the independence of the judiciary, the president and cabinet, and the national values and principles of governance. He denied the accusations, as was his right. Parliament heard him, and Parliament made its determination, and he was removed from office. Those are not rumors. They are part of parliamentary record, and the courts have also vindicated Parliament in that impeachment process. Mr. Gachagua today, as we mentioned earlier, has made very grave accusations involving assassinations, extrajudicial killings, abductions, firearms, police officers, intelligence agencies, private companies, and senior public officials. These are not accusations a former deputy president should throw around like political confetti. If Mr. Gachagua possesses any iota of evidence of murder, assassination networks, stolen firearms, corruption, or the concealment of suspects, he knows exactly what the law requires him to do as a good citizen of this country. Present the evidence, present the name, present the documents, the dates, present the witnesses, and then hand them over to appropriate investigative and judicial institutions to take action. A former deputy president who sat in the National Security Council knows the difference between intelligence, evidence, hearsay, and political gossip. What Gachagua is doing today is nothing but political gossip.
He's a gossiper.
National security cannot become a prop for a politician searching for relevance. Gachagua being no exception. He should not use our national security as a prop to seek political relevance. Neither should the pain of bereaved families be converted into campaign material. We have all listened in utter shock as Honorable Gachagua spoke about the late former Prime Minister, the late Ogola, and as my colleague has said, the same Ogola Rigathi opposed to be appointed as CDF simply because he hailed from the Luo community. Rigathi speaks about the unfortunate death of the former Prime Minister, Baba Raila Odinga, with no regard to the feelings of his family. Raila Odinga would not have traveled with the doctors he's traveled with from Kenya without the consent and approval of his immediate family. We want to plead with Gachagua to let those who have left before us to rest in peace.
Correct.
And have the empathy to think about the children and the families of those who have left us, including those of the late Johanna Ngeno, who had very young children and a young widow who is at pain. You will remember Johanna Ngeno's widow and his immediate family learned about the unfortunate passing on of Mheshimiwa Johanna Ngeno from a public rally by Gachagua in Nyahururu, even before they formally got news of the accident that befell a husband, a father, a brother, and a son to an elderly mother. Regarding, I have said before, you're a black man with a very dark soul and dark heart. Please spare bereaved and mourning families the pain of having to relive their losses as you play your cheap politics.
Thank you.
By the way, lastly, there is a story I want to share with Kenyans about regarding. You know, after the election, this is a very sad, true story. After the election, when we went to the demonstrations, when ODM went to the demonstrations, and things were very bad, and the country was going to the dogs, the President of the Republic of Tanzania, on our own initiative, decided to come here and do arbitration between President Ruto and the former Prime Minister, my former party leader. I traveled personally. She came to Nyanyuki at Mount Kenya Safari Club. I traveled personally with the former Prime Minister to Nyanyuki and met President Suluhu. And the following day, we were supposed to meet there President Ruto. When we were waiting for President Ruto the following day, President Ruto called President Suluhu, and he said that my deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, has told me you cannot go to that meeting. If you go, I will resign as a deputy president. So he said, I might end up coming to solve a crisis in Nyanyuki, but I might create another crisis in my government. So please, let us look for another way to deal with this matter. President Ruto is alive. I am alive. It's only majority is there. That is why ODM can never forgive Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes.
Because he wanted death and destruction for ODM. He did not want peace.
And the country.
And the country. President Suluhu is alive.
Yes.
President Ruto is alive. Junet is alive, who traveled with my party leader. Shungwa is alive, who was at State House with his leader. And he said, if you go to that meeting, imagine a foreign president came all the way. She landed in Nyanyuki to create peace and to arbitrate and to say that this is our neighbor, can we discuss? Gachagua refused. He said, if you go there, I am going to resign as deputy president of Kenya. So we told President Ruto, don't create another crisis, let's look for another formula, and we will still talk. And we still talked, and we still formed the broad base. And we are going to form more government before the future. Thank you very much.
Good term. So, that was it for today. Asanteni sana.
Asanteni sana. Problem mbili.
Whose phone is this?
No questions.
Ama ni yenyu? Ni yenyu.